Morning, Commissioners. How are you?
Good morning.
Have a little bit of a different format today. I'll update you on the big things, and then John doesn't have financial reports for this meeting, and I'll explain that in a little bit. And then I know Jim wants to address you regarding a workshop. So first of all, I appreciate being here for the second meeting of the month as opposed to the normal first. I was expecting and did get a lot more information on the big items we've been discussing since the last meeting that I would have been at. So, also just to let you up to date on where we're at with John's financials and stuff. The latest upgrade to the computer system was the general ledger package, which is what John works off of to create the income statement and the balance sheet. And that conversion did not go the way it should have. It took some of our liabilities and made them assets, and vice versa. People we owed money now owed us, and vice versa. So they're working on that. And I believe that they've done a couple edits since then, but it's still not right. So as soon as that gets worked out, we will have the upgraded income statement and balance sheet. I'm just going to go through the report I gave to the hospital board 2 weeks ago. Meaningful use, the monies for meaningful use will be here next week. That's a big hit, or a big addition to our cash, which is always needed. It should be in, it's supposed to be mailed the week of the 22nd, so that would be sometime next Monday or beyond. That is around the ballpark of about $350,000, $360,000, I believe. So. The reason, again, that I didn't come to the first meeting of the month was last Thursday I spent the day in Tallahassee. We took the proposed building plans to ACA for a Stage 1 and Stage 2 review by ACA. And basically what ACA is concerned with is, does the design maximize patient safety and quality? Obviously, there's architects there and there's engineers there to make sure things work, but they're more concerned with the design and how that will affect patients. And so I got to spend the morning, Thursday morning, 3 hours with 3 architects, 4 engineers, and a program manager, which was exciting. And I'm happy to report that they approved the building plans as is. Basically, from their, they have one major issue that we can correct, and that was on what they call interim life safety plan, which basically means during any construction project, what are you doing to ensure the safety of patients, et cetera, infection control, and things like that. So we have to do a little bit of work there. Other than that, they just had notes that they wanted added to the designs. Nothing with the design at all. As a matter of fact, they were very complimentary of the design. Indicated they were happy to see that the design was able to compartmentalize different things, which would lead to both patient and staff safety, and also lead to efficiencies in staffing. So where it goes from there, basically you have to go through a final review with ACA, but it's pretty much a stamp. Legally, those plans as approved, you can build the hospital with those plans. After we got done with all of those people, we went over to Culpeper and met with them. And the first thing that they said was, we think we found some savings in the design just by changing one thing. And then they said, but the difference between the first time they looked at it and the second time they looked at it, they didn't see anything major. They think that their GMP will be at or under budget, and they wanted 3 weeks to get that number, or I think it was 3 weeks. Anyway, it's September 8th is when they say that they will have that number. I pushed them to try to get it to the 1st, which what would that accomplish? It would allow me to bring that GMP number to you guys the first meeting in September as opposed to the second meeting. There was a lot of pushback on that from Culpeper, basically because they're going to be doing some work with subs and stuff like that to get an accurate number. But they're very confident that the number will be within budget. The numbers within the budget have changed quite a bit. The equipment budget was able to come down significantly, but the engineering and site preparation has gone up significantly. And the main reason there is we're going from 1 retention pond to 4 retention ponds. The drainage in that area is not very good, and with the amount of sidewalks and parking lots, also coupled in that same area, we have the Department of Health, and so the runoff from all those areas creates a huge drainage issue. So there will be 4 retainage ponds in that site. So that's where the building program is. The next step is to get the GMP. And so we'll be working on that. If I can get it to you before the first meeting in September, I'm going to do that, but it looks like it'll be the second meeting. Cash. You should have received last night a cash flow projection for August, September, and October. It should have been in your packet, or should have been delivered today. We held off on getting that to you because we wanted to see if we could get the income statement and the balance sheet produced and give it all to you at the same time. But it's still, that other stuff is just not ready yet. So we went ahead and did the cash projections based on information that we currently have. You will note in there that the cash collections, what we're able to bring in from patient accounts, is doing very well. We are back to our historic levels and beyond that now. As a matter of fact, August, we will likely exceed $500,000 in patient account collections. We average less than 4. And then in the dark days of 2015 and 16, we were sometimes down at 250 to 260. So the collection seems to have worked itself out. However, as I've mentioned to this board on several occasions, the delay in the LIP funding is the other part of the money we operate on. And everything I'm told is that they're still on track for October, in which case we would get retroactive payments back to July. As an FYI, Mark O'Brien is one of the people that sits on that board that is actually working with the state to get that money figured out how they're going to distribute it to us. So from a cash perspective, the hospital projection that John shared with you, it's going to be a little tight, but we think we're going to be good through October getting that LIP funding. It should be fine. But Just a couple other notes I took just a little while ago. We are working with the state on getting that helipad licensed correctly. It's still not been licensed. I don't think it ever has been licensed. So we're trying to work through that issue as well. And another small issue came up just yesterday that I'll be talking with the Department of Health about, but they were wanting to put in an emergency generator. The site they picked for that butts right within 3 feet of our portable oxygen storage. So that is a huge no-no. I mean, either we're going to have to move that shed or they're going to have to move the generator, because you can't have the generator and oxygen sitting right next to each other. So. But that's all I have, and I'm open to questions.
Yes, sir, Mr. Noah.
You said 500?
This month, we'll be right at 500. We had 258 through 15 days
Not for this month.
this month.
Okay, now. That's good. No, you ain't got to dip in the pot.
Where's your microphone? Where's your microphone?
That's good. That sounds good. I want to go back to we having on this, they taking a long time to give us numbers on how much this hospital gonna cost. But that's the company.
That's, Culpeper is pricing it.
Right.
They didn't get the finalized plans until last Tuesday. So they've had the plans for a week. The plans they're actually going to build, they would build from. So what they're doing now is, for a lot of it, they can go through, okay, for this and for that, they can look at it and say, this many square feet, it's going to cost this amount. The thing that will take the longest for them at this point is going to be for like the electrical engineering and the plumbing. They will actually get subcontractors to give them a ballpark price on what it would be, and that's what's going to take a couple weeks to get back, is from the subs.
I mean, but a project of that size, it might be a small project to them, it's a big project to us. But they should have known something. I mean, they in the business of building. They should have known something, you know. I still say it's taking too long, and we need some numbers. We can't make a move until they make that.
I understand that, Commissioner. I think they're pretty confident, but in order for them to put their signature on something and be responsible for getting it done for that number, they're going to want a little bit more detail from the subcontractors.
As long as they come up under, cause if they're going over, we going to another company. Simple as that.
Mr. Chairman, if I could make a comment, this contract is at risk, and so they would be responsible for, once they agree to a price, and they're putting sharp pencils to the bid, I'm sure, they would be responsible for anything over that.
That's exactly right, and that's why they're being careful at this point. But Culpeper's been extremely complimentary on the plans as well. They think that it's a good plan, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's a very, very tight budget. To put it in perspective, you know, the Madison Hospital was $26 or $27 million a couple years ago. And, you know, I've been through that facility, and I don't particularly care for their plan, but it's a full hospital. So we're less than half of that, and you're getting from the patient's perspective, it'll be a full hospital. So, I mean, it's a very tight budget.
You have anything, Sharon?
Oh, I've got a lot, but I'm waiting for Mr. John Graham to get that file say.
Well, Commissioner, John doesn't have any income statements or anything, but I mean, if you have a question for him.
He doesn't have any income statements?
No, that's what I was saying, that the information didn't transfer over. So,
Well, Mr. Mike, I'm gonna let you know, I've prayed about this issue and prayed about this issue until I've got to say what's on my heart. And I'm gonna tell you, I hear the underlying thing that you're saying. The underlying thing is you need more money. And I see it coming. Now, I looked at the numbers that y'all produced, and you had a little over 7 days again, cash on hand again. 7 days. 7 days is all. You have 1.6 patients per day. That's the number. You came 2 or 3 weeks ago and had to get $125,000 on the money that we advanced you back in December. From December 2015 until now, you all have used out of the capital outlay portion of the health care tax $890,000 on top of your proceeds that come to you for the half-cent part of the health care tax for $1.5 million or somewhere like that, that goes to half-cents, that goes to operation of Wayne. I just don't see a good trend here. I can't see how, and then you took another action that we just found out about 2 or 3 weeks ago when you gave arbitrarily raises to the upper management of this hospital, and you give some of the other employees 25 cents on the hour. Now I'm going to tell you, the backbone of this hospital is those nurses and those doctors and those CNAs and those lab people that walk them halls 24 hours a day. It is not the 5 or 6 management people. That's who's the backbone of that hospital. And for them, I give them all the credit. It doesn't matter. I don't have to, you know, my way of thinking. I am trying to make myself think, how can you sit up here and in good faith in your heart, ask us to approve a 25-bed brand new to some, but it's renovated. How can you stand up here and justify a 25-bed facility when you don't have but 1.6 people in that hospital in a day's time staying overnight? Why don't you cut it back down? I'm for a new facility. That's everybody. But you know what I'm also for? I'm also for these clinics in Franklin County that are struggling to make it according to your numbers on here. They're struggling to make it in Carabel, Appalachia, whatever way. And I want to read you an article, just a statement. There's a bunch of it in here, but I'm going to just, it says, this is concerning, and the question is, hold on just a minute. With hospitals in critical condition, can rural America survive? This is the name of the article. And it has opened my eyes on a lot of things. It says they may be the only places that provide health care for hundreds of miles. They may be the main source of livelihoods. But rural hospitals are very much an endangered species. Nearly 30% of the nation's 2,000 or so rural hospitals are likely to close their doors within the next 2 years. The critical access that we take so much pride in having and owning, it ain't, in 2 years, it ain't going to be worth diddly squat. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I would like for you to explain to me how you can justify giving the top 5 or 6 people the amount of raises, which was added up somewhere around $77,000, and then the very next week or two, come in and borrow $125,000 to make payroll. Or back then in December, you came in December and you gave the raises in October. We're just finding out about it and do that. I'm going to tell you, we got a sinking ship out there if something don't happen. And I'm going to tell you something. I think you all need to go back and revisit the raises that you all gave yourself. I mean, because you got one person getting $25,376. That's more than the county pays their starting wages. Our starting wages is 25,000. We can't tell you not to do it, but it sure does look awful bad when you go and say, oh, we gave these raises here, we're worth it, but yet you're always having to take money out of the capital outlay fund. And I just want to let you know, the capital outlay fund is not an open-end checking account. It's for the outlay, the capital outlay of these hospitals, this hospital, and these two clinics. And if any of y'all want to chime in, you can, because I mean, I've been here, sitting here 18 years. 18 years. I've had the pleasure, the honor of sitting here 18 years. And do you know what I see? I see that thing reverting right back where it was when Mike Lake and Dawson and all them was in there. Just a different scenario and a different picture and a different man wearing a different suit. You know, that's all I see. But I'm going to tell you something. I want it very plainly. Where's Miss Lois Swoboda? I want it very plainly. I am for the hospital and its employees, but I am not for the managements to take upon themselves, whoever, and if the board of directors approved it, I got something on them too, because they shouldn't have. Because the people that work at that hospital making get 25 cent raise on the hour or 50 cent on the hour, why do you think they're leaving here and going somewhere else? That's the reason why. But this stuff has to be said, and I'm tired of tipping on tippy toes around everybody, and we've got to put some common sense into this thing. And I didn't do that for no applause. This is what I've been praying up here all morning long, y'all. And Brother John talked about compassion. Compassion? I love every one of y'all, and I'm probably gonna make a lot of y'all happy, but I'm gonna probably make some of y'all happy. But the thing about it is, if I don't do my job as a commissioner and sit up here and tell you what is right and what is wrong by the numbers I see, how can you explain your operation cost being $1.6 million this year? I mean, I asked that question about a month ago. Nobody has ever gave me an answer. Everything's always, oh, the billing stuff. Oh, this. We've got digital machines we got to have in by the end of the year. Do we have the money to pay for that? That's going to be a capital outlay right there. So, I mean, I'm just concerned. Mr. Cooper, and this ain't all on your shoulders. It's on everybody's shoulders. All the management. That man or that person that got that $26,000 raise, he should have said, hold on just a minute. Hold on. I don't need this. The hospital's in a bad time. You know what I mean? You just don't do it. But anyway, Mr. Cooper, I appreciate you being respectful and listening to me, because a lot of them don't. But we're going to have to do something better than what we're doing.
Would you like me to respond, or?
Now, I'm just telling you, maybe you'll take it food for thought. Maybe you'll take food for thought and think about it. That's what I said. In your heart of hearts, can you stand up here and look us in the eye and no smiling? Because this is not a funny thing. This is a very serious thing. You talk about Taylor County, you talk about Doctors Memorial, talk about Madison County. I have very good friends at Madison County, Taylor County, that are all commissioners, Calhoun County, Gulf County. They're all facing the same thing I am, or this county is. We are. But anyway. So, now any of y'all can pop in anytime you want to.
I done screen him, had a long meeting on.
Well, I'm not, let me tell you how I am, y'all. I don't backbite nobody. I don't talk about nobody. What I got to say to represent the people, I say in these meetings face to face. I don't go behind no doors. I don't go out there and meet at the hospital. I don't meet down the road. We meet here face to face, and I'll tell you how I feel, and you can tell me how I feel. You may not agree with me, I may not agree with you, but you know what? I'm still going to love you, because that's what I want. But I want you to know, this has caused me a lot of anguish, because I sit here and I know that I'm one of the principal people that helped write the language for this health care tax, and this was not the meaning of it. This was not the meaning of it. This was supposed to be something good for the people. And now you just come on in here, just money after money. We can't do that. Can't do it. You know what it feels like to me? It feels like to me that I broke my promise to the people of Franklin County, and I know I haven't. Y'all, don't never mind me, because I take my job so serious. If I didn't take my job serious and love what I did, I wouldn't be here 18 years. The people have gave me the honor to be here, and I cannot sit here and say everything's fine anymore, and I'm going to be saying it, and I'm going to be that thorn in your side, Mr. Mike, and I love you to death. But something ain't right here. It's just like in the minutes. You got in the minutes that Mark O'Brien has talked to Alliant, that the board, that Mark O'Brien told us it was going to be Alliant. Alliant has never came up in this board meeting when Mark O'Brien talked to me. I asked him, do you have a company in mind? He said, well, there's some out there and we'll be talking to them. He never did say Alliant. I don't even know where Alliant comes from.
Let me tell you then, when he was here, it wasn't Alliant, okay? He was looking at 5 different
That's
companies.
what I'm talking about.
Well, a couple of them have pulled themselves out. They don't want to be an at-risk partner.
No, ma'am, they don't want to be.
But he has had conversations with Alliant. I can tell you, this is what I know about that deal. Mark has what he wants in the deal, and Alliant has what they want in the deal. It's not like it's a key and a lock. I mean, it's not perfect, but they are on the same page that both of them would be at risk, and it would take the county completely out of risk as far as ad valorem funding. The difficulty has been getting the 2 of them to be able to sit down. I had hoped to be able to tell you that they had scheduled that for later this month, but there is a proposal. It's just a matter of getting them to sit down and look at it. But Mark's been out of the country 3 or 4 times. They're for business related issues, but that's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Well, let me ask you a question, Mr. Cooper, and you also too, Mr. John. Do y'all have any, or have you in the past had any affiliation with Alliant?
Yes,
You have?
yes. John
Okay,
has as well.
Mr. John, have you?
Yes.
You all, what was your relationship with them?
What was my relationship or how was it? I was a CEO at a hospital that they managed.
Was it more than one?
I've only been at one
Yeah,
hospital with
that's
them.
what I'm saying, I didn't know.
They currently operate 18 hospitals in 5 states. This would be the 3rd hospital in Florida. They also are now at Calhoun Liberty, and they are an at-risk partner. I shouldn't say the company's not an at-risk partner. They manage the hospital in Chipley, Northwest Florida, whatever it's called, and several of the principals at Alliant are investors in that for-profit hospital. All but the Chipley Hospital are nonprofit. All but 1, 2, 3 are critical access hospitals. That's what they did. I'll give you a little bit more background about where they came from. Norton Hospital, which back in 1975 was not Norton Hospital, it was Methodist Hospital, I think, in Louisville, decided that they wanted to, if this is not an old song, they noticed that the rural hospitals were struggling. And so they wanted to help them. So they created this department that would go out and provide them services. That grew into a management company owned by Norton Healthcare. Norton Healthcare said, we're not in the management of hospital business, and they sold it for $1 to Blue & Company, which is a top 5 accounting firm in the country. And now Alliant Health Services is a subsidiary of Blue & Company, an accounting firm. But they specialize strictly in rural hospitals. That's what they do. I can tell you, how will this work? Just because John and I are both familiar with them, and when Mark was trying to put down companies he would be willing to work with, I suggested Alliant. Alliant called me, said, Mike, we just looked up your cost report. online, because they're all public information online through CMS. He said, I think we found you $180,000 in this additional reimbursement. That was one day after we talked to him. That's what they do, is they maximize what comes out of the cost report. That's their biggest asset. So that's the value that Mark O'Brien was talking about. Mark doesn't do that. Nobody in Mark's organization does that. Mark wants to be here. Believe it or not, it's not for referrals, because, I mean, he'll flat out tell you, he does not want patients from here going up there if we can take care of them. He doesn't want general surgeries to go up there. He doesn't want pneumonias to go up there. He wants to be a presence here, not to necessarily make money, but he doesn't want to lose money. So that's where that's coming from.
Mr. Cooper, let me ask you one more question. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Let me ask you one more question. Hold on. Let me think. William interrupted me.
I interrupted you.
Yeah.
I didn't give me time to say nothing.
I was trying to think of something. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, all right, when you spoke the other day, I asked you to take two matters, take care of the two matters. Have you checked in on them two matters?
Frankly, I'm sure I did, but I can't remember what they
You know,
are.
one of them got a $25,000
Yeah.
raise, the other got about $11,000 raise it was getting paid
That's
for
my question.
jobs that they was doing elsewhere and
Yeah.
doing this one, still getting paid for them two jobs, plus the raise.
I am working on that, yes.
How long? I mean,
It'll be September.
and according to you and Mark and all, he said if he takes the hospital over and takes it, he's gonna start from bottom up and work up at all these pay scales won't be there. He'll start from zero bottom. They won't be making what they're making.
I'm not familiar with what you're,
They're not gonna be making the same amount of money they're making now. Like the maintenance man, all of them is making that big money, they're not gonna be making that when TMH takes it over.